Okay, it's recording right now. Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here a while, like I just said, welcome back. I am doing an interview that one of my clients and I have been working on for quite some time to share with you guys. We wanted to make sure you guys were blessed and had some insight on not only what your prodigal is going through, but what you could potentially go through and how the enemy truly is the master of trickery. And he knows how to wrap stuff up like a bow and show up as an angel of light. We all know this. So it's nice to hear somebody else's testimony from it. So my client and I have been working together for a while, and there was a trick that the enemy tried to slip up his sleeve that he almost pretty much fell into, but the Lord was so merciful and good that he has pulled him out. So I'm going to let him take over. We are not going to release names or information or anything. This is truly just a testimony to be shared with you guys for encouragement, and I hope that it blesses you guys. So now I'm going to let him take over, and I will interject later, but he's going to take over. So go ahead, hon.
All right, so let me first give you a little bit, just a quick back history. Like Coach said, I'm not going to give names for anonymity purposes and to keep everybody protected. I was married for a little over a decade. My wife left me last year and started dating someone pretty much about the same time she moved out. Right after she left, I felt God called me to stand, and I got a word basically that said, got to stand. And he's confirmed it over the last many months, several times, that I'm supposed to stand for my wife and stand for this marriage, that he's going to restore it. In the process of everything I've gone through, because she's been in a long-term relationship with her affair partner now for several months, there were a lot of times where I would seek God and ask him, how do I forgive her? How do I learn from this experience? Because I'm doing it again. But how do I forgive someone when they come back and they've been in a long-term relationship with someone other than me? And I know that includes sleeping together multiple times. How do I forgive that affair? And I struggled with it for a long time. And towards the end of last year, I met someone and was instantly magnetized and drawn to this person in a way I cannot describe or explain. Just I met this person at a party, and literally was one of those whoa moments when I first saw her. Did not engage with her, had no conversation other than small talk at this particular party, and was told she was married, had no intention of going any further. Shortly after the beginning of the year, she tracked me down and pursued me. And in the process of talking initially, I found out she's in a very similar situation to myself. Her husband had moved out, had filed for divorce. They'd been apart for quite a while. Both of us are just waiting for the finality of our divorce at this point. And we had a lot of stuff in common, and we were talking about things and getting to know each other. I was invited over to her house late one night, and I shouldn't have gone. But like Coach said, when the devil knows what he's doing, he knows what he's doing. He wrapped this particular package up in a very attractive person, in a very fantastic package that when she started to make moves on me, I physically could not tell her no. I'm hearing it in my spirit. I'm hearing it in my soul. You've got to stop her. You don't need to do this. You can't do this. Quit. Get out of here. And I physically could not verbally get the words to come out of my mouth. I needed to, I wanted to, and I couldn't. And I ended up cheating on my spouse and then going home. And this person and I talked. We had conversations throughout the rest of the day. Long story short, I agreed to start a relationship with this person because I figured, well, my spouse is cheating on me and she's doing what she's going to do. Why shouldn't I be allowed to go out and do what I want to do? Got some sleep that night, woke up the next morning in instant conviction. Knew what I was doing was wrong. Oh man, what did I do? Started setting up an opportunity to tell her that we can't continue. That went on for a couple of days. That morning that early that morning, I woke up and I was driving to work, and like I said, the gravity hit me and the conviction started hitting me. A little later that day, she texted me some pictures of herself, one in work attire, one in her driving her vehicle, and one of her and a child that she has from her marriage. And instantly, the numbing or the conviction started. And again, it was hard to say no. It was hard to set up anything knowing I needed to end that. I couldn't take it any further. In the process of doing that, we ended up having another encounter the next night after having a conversation with her later on that day and saying, look, we've got to set boundaries in place. I can't continue this way. I don't want to have this kind of a relationship, and we need to put some stuff in place so that we can have the right kind of relationship, knowing this is not something God is going to honor, but I was pursuing it anyway. Again, like I said, the next night we had another encounter. And again, when the devil does what he's doing, he knows what he's doing, and he does it well. He doesn't create, he just recycled old tricks because he knows they work, and he knows they work very effectively. Best encounter I've ever had with any other partner in my life, which made it even harder to end the relationship. But again, I'm convicted every time we're doing this. So, long story short, we set a date up for the next night to have dinner together, knowing I need to end this relationship. That morning, I'm reminded of a dream I had where I was physically taking over somebody else's marriage that I happened upon while out on a hike. And God showed me, you're stepping into someone else's relationship. And this is a warning. And I said, okay, I get it. So the next day comes. This is now the fourth day of the relationship. And I went to open my Bible app up on my phone, and I could feel the demonic in me wincing, like cringing, because I picked up my Bible, I picked up my phone and opened my Bible app to read and try and have my devotions. I tried to play some worship music to try and get myself in the right frame of mind, and I could hear them, put it down. And I went to pray, and I could hear them laughing. You think he's going to listen to you after what you just did? And I pressed through it. I went ahead with my devotions. I went ahead with my prayer time. And I've been doing this every day since then. Just this one particular morning, it was really bad. And we meet for dinner that night. And I know she's a church attender. So the devil uses people in church.
Mm-hmm.
He uses people that he can manipulate. It does not matter who they are. It doesn't matter where they are. It doesn't matter what they're doing. He knows how to manipulate people. Even some of your Christian people in the church are very susceptible to be manipulated to use against you, because when he's trying to distract you, he does not fight fair. He uses every underhanded, every dirty trick in the book he possibly can, because he is going to destroy you with whatever means necessary. And unless you stand up under the blood of Jesus and the strength of God by the Holy Spirit and rebuke him and get him to flee and leave him, leave you alone, like it says in James, you're gonna fall. And I didn't really fall. I dove headfirst into this. And we meet for dinner. We start talking about her faith, and I asked her about it because this is now 4 days into it. I'm just now getting around to asking really about her faith. Long story short, I break it off. It's our first dinner together. And I break it off and I say, we can't continue. Every time we've been together, I've been feeling convicted. And I can't continue this because I know it's the same thing I've done in every other relationship I've ever been in, and I see how they have all ended, and I can't keep repeating patterns. If I keep repeating patterns, I'm going to end up in exactly the same spot I'm in now. And I don't want to do that to you or anyone else. I said, and just a few days ago, I was ready to stand for my marriage till death, and you came along and I just physically threw everything away. I dumped it all.
Mm-hmm. That
And
is so true.
I said, I realized I cannot continue this, and it's nothing against you. I thought I was healed. I thought I was in a better state. I thought I was physically and spiritually and emotionally better off than I am. But us being together has triggered things in me that tells me there is a lot of work I still have to do to be ready for any relationship with any person at any point in time, because I am not there. And we ended the night. We finished dinner. We had dessert together still because I said, you don't have to run off. I'm not telling you to run off right now. We can finish dinner. We have dessert. Let's sit and talk. But I can't be in a relationship with you because I can't hurt you if we keep going on like this. Knowing if this relationship continues, it's just a matter of time before I'm standing for another relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Or as Coach and I were talking about earlier, being told to leave her to go back to the one I was originally supposed to be standing for, and breaking her even worse. So I knew I had two choices. I can hurt her a little bit now by breaking her heart and telling her I've got to end it, or I can completely crush her later by devastating her with some more tragic news.
Even yourself too, because essentially when you get married to somebody, like you're going to develop some feelings and time invested. So you're going to have to grieve. She's going to have to grieve. You have to go back to the person that the Lord wanted you to be with in the first place. And that person has to grieve over some of that stuff. It's just not worth it.
No, it's not. And I realized that. And like I said, it's a definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And that's exactly what I was doing. I was starting off exactly the same way I have pretty much every other relationship in my life. And I'm standing for a marriage that ended up because it started off exactly this way. Put the physical before anything else, and not having, and I was even trying to tell myself, but hang on, I can back up and we can start a Bible study together. We can put some guardrails in place, and we can go ahead and just start off and do this right. Is no, that's not who I'm supposed to be standing for. I've had God confirm this several times in multiple different ways over more than one occasion over many months. This is not the person you're supposed to be with. I told you to be with I told you to be with your wife. There's a process you have to follow. There's a process of things that need to happen. And this needs to go in the way I'm doing it. This is the person I've confirmed for you. This is the person I told you you're going to be with. Why are you over here?
That's so true. That's so true. And what I kind of want to add to that is how a lot of the people that are standing, one of the reasons why they'll say, "Oh, I could never fall for a counterfeit," "Oh, I'm standing for my spouse." That's it. That person that's a man of God or a woman of God hasn't came towards you yet. Okay, that's your type or
Yeah,
someone that you actually are attracted to. So it's real easy for us to say that until that happens, because at the end of the day, we're human, and you will get to a point to where you're like, you know what, I don't need to be dealing with this. This is what the enemy plans. If this person's a Christian and will read Bible with me and, do all this, why would I stand for this person? But like my client is saying, you're missing the big picture. This isn't about the marriage. This is about your development. This is about you growing and becoming restored back to Jesus Christ. And then, and only then, you can receive your spouse.
absolutely. He knows Satan does not have any new tricks. He doesn't need to develop them. He's not a creator. He's not an originator. He
Mhm.
just recycles the same ones because they are so effective and they work so well. He
They
doesn't have
do.
to. He doesn't have to develop them. And I really did not think I was going to fall. I didn't think I was going to be tempted, but sure enough, I was. And when I was tempted, I thought I was strong enough. I was not. I was not. And like I said, I didn't fall. I dove headfirst into it
Well,
because I got frustrated. I got tired. This has been a long-term stand for a little bit. And it's been going on for more than a couple of months. This has been ongoing for a little while, and I got frustrated. I got lonely. I got bored because I didn't want to be alone. And I kept thinking, well, she's allowed to do what she's doing. She's allowed to go off and have fun. And she's not paying any prices for it, not knowing the state of her mind, not knowing the state of her heart, or where she's at emotionally or spiritually, because we don't talk very much.
Right. And it boils down to one thing. Everybody's looking for happiness. They're looking for the dopamine and the love affair of the relationship, but they're not looking at it as this is an obedience to God. This isn't about my flesh being happy. We have to die to flesh every day, and it doesn't mean it's easy. And something that I like that they showed in The Chosen is how Jesus was telling his disciples it was actually John the Baptist, how he always wants to be obedient to his Father, but it doesn't make it easy. He was human too. He felt everything that we all feel, but he made the right choice.
Yeah. The only perfect person to ever walk the earth, and no one has been able to accomplish it since, because none of us are perfect.
Right. And he knows that. And that's just us using that as an example to know he felt everything that we felt, and he will give us the way out. His word says he promises to give us a way out of temptation. And even though we fall short, we get back up on our horse and we keep going. So he had victory, my client, because now he has. So something that we were doing is every time he felt tempted, he would text me help and we would work through it. And then he ended up practicing that self-control, the fruits of the Spirit, and God was giving him more strength by the day. And the Lord has made it crystal clear to him within the last few weeks that he is to be standing for his wife and to, not fall back into old habits. And he has had some good conversation with her, and that he has shown him some hope in that. So now he has more strength to do it. It doesn't mean that we're not going to be weak. Of course, we're going to be weak days, but we have to fight past that and just keep saying, Jesus, help me. Jesus, help me. Because this battle is hard, guys. It is, but it is completely possible to be able to withstand the temptation. And this testimony I wanted to share today, because his testimony is going to help you realize it's not worth it not to make the same mistakes. This is why I shared my testimony with the counterfeits that came my way and how I almost fell for it. And God told me to put it away, but I didn't have any guidance. I didn't know anything about counterfeits coming in to the journey and stuff. I had no idea. They just looked really good, and I was sick of being treated like crap. But just remember something, and I'm going to do a separate video on this. Ephesians 6:12. We don't wrestle against the flesh. We wrestle against the principalities. So you got all of hell coming up against you to try to take you out in this journey. So what I want to end with, guys, is I hope that this blessed you and it encouraged you to realize how the enemy has deceived your spouses too. And just like us, he does the same thing with our spouses to make them think that there's no way out after they sinned and after they come to the realization that they made the mistake and gave in to the sin, because he makes them look a certain way and there's witchcraft done. This is why my client said that it was just, he was drawn to her. He couldn't explain it. And that's the same thing that he does with our spouses. Our spouses get wrapped up, and then he shoves condemnation down after they have the conviction from God and they feel like there's no way they can come back, that their pride and their arrogance is just too big. They don't have that confidence in the Lord that he's developing in you right now. So before we end this, I'm going to ask you, my client, do you have anything you want to add before we end this and close out?
Yeah. The strongest way that you're going to ever defeat any of this is to definitely gird yourself up with the armor of God, realizing that you don't fight with the weapons of conventional warfare. You fight with spiritual warfare. Mm-hmm. So you thinking about all of that, you put on the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, the belt of truth. You shod your feet with the gospel of peace and the gospel of truth. You take up your shield of faith and your sword of truth. The one thing you're not covered is your back, because you never retreat. You're always pushing forward. And in any combat situation, you cannot retreat. You can't stay pinned down. You have to keep moving forward, or you are certainly going to die.
Absolutely. We're not our past. I just told my brother this on the phone yesterday. He's waking up. He's, now God's waking him up, and he's really recognizing his decisions, and he just has so much condemnation. And this is one of the things you guys have to understand. The enemy doesn't play fair. So if you don't know the Lord and know that you're not your past and he's making new wine out of you, you're going to be stuck in that old wine mindset. And you think that you are that past, but you have to keep looking forward and moving forward. And he's just going to keep improving you and improving you. And remember, the old wine can't go in with the new wine. So
Romans 8:1, there is no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. When the devil tries to tell you about your past, you remind him of your future. He's under your feet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I hope that this video has blessed you guys. I hope that it has motivated you guys and not only gave you warning for yourself, but also a different perspective to see your spouse with the decisions that they have made. So I hope that everybody has a wonderful rest of your day. And we're going to try to do some more interviews to be able to help you guys have some more perspective of what's going on in other people's lives. I hope you enjoyed it. You all have a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.